When land gets developed for human use, the landscape changes. We will see as many types of vegetation, trees, grasses, and so forth. This in turn leads to other losses. The loss of animals that once lived there. But these are the obvious changes. But there are also less obvious changes like the climate. One interesting case of this of changes in the local land use causing changes in climate, specifically in the temperature, is in Florida. Now, what comes to mind when you think of the state of Florida? Sunshine, beaches, warm weather, oranges. Yes, exactly. Florida has long had a great citrus industry, large growth of oranges, lemons, and the like. Florida's winter is very mild. The temperature doesn't often get below freezing, but there are several areas in Florida that do freeze. So in the early 1900s, farmers moved to areas that were even less likely to freeze. Obviously, freezing temperatures are dangerous to the crops. About a barrier of the cold air long spell frost could ruin the entire crop anyway. Before the citrus grove was moved south, much of the land in South Florida was what we called a wetland. Wetlands are areas of marshy, swampy land. Areas where the soil, where is present is earth at the knees or soil. For large part of the year, wetlands are its own ecosystem with plants and animals with specialty in the adaptations. Very exciting, but it's not what we're talking about today. Where's why? Farmers moved south? Oh yes. Farmers moved south, but the land was not suitable for farming. You can't grow oranges in wetlands, so farmers had to transform the wetlands into lands suitable for farming. To do that, you have to drain the water from the land and move the water elsewhere, and divert the water sources such as rivers. Hundreds of miles of drainage canals were built in the wetland. Now, in these areas, the new areas that farmers moved to used to be warm and unlikely to freeze. However, recently the area has become susceptible to freeze, and we are trying to understand why. Is it some global temperature change or weather pattern, like El Nino or something? Well, there are two theories. One idea is, as you suggest, the major weather pattern, something like El Nino, are responsible. But the other idea, and this is the one that I personally subscribe to, is the changes in the temperature pattern have been brought about by the loss of wetland. How the loss of wetland makes a difference? Well, think about what we've been studying so far. We discussed the impact of landscape on temperature, right? What effects does the body of water have on an area? Oh yeah, bodies of water tend to absorb the heat during the day and they release the heat at night. Yes, exactly. What you just said is what I want you to understand. Bodies of water release heat and moisture back into the environment. Surfaces near the large bodies of water are generally milder and slightly warmer than those without water. And what I another think is that the loss of the wetland has created the situation where the local temperatures in the area are not slightly different and slightly colder than the one 100 years ago before the wetlands were drained. Hmm. Do we know that the temperature like back then? Well, we are able to estimate this. We have data about the South Florida's current landscape and plant cover, and we were able to reconstruct data about the landscape prior to 1900. Then we entered those data information about what the landscape looked like before and the wetland was drained, and we entered the data into a computer weather model. This model can predict the temperatures. And when all the data were entered, an odor and a cooling trend was predicted by model. How much colder they get now? Well, actually, the model shows a drop in own food resources. What is in the cold dramatic does into crops? The temperatures overnight are already very close to the freezing point, then this drop of just 2 food can take the temperature below freezing. And freezing caused frost with kill crops. So this damaging frost wouldn't happen if the wetland were still in existence. Just as a tiny temperature difference can have the major consequences.